Welcome, I'm Imani.
And I'm Brianna, and today we're talking about racism, more specifically racism in cinema and Hollywood.
Racism is basically the discrimination directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior.
And a lot of movies are biased and not outwardly racist. The presence of African Americans in major motion pictures has stirred controversy since Hattie McDaniel played Mammy, the house servant in Gone with the Wind. Through most of the 20th century, images of African Americans advertising were mainly limited to servants like Pancake Mammy, Aunt Jemima.
I actually saw Gone with the Wind, and it was pretty racist.
I mean, definitely, because there were slaves. But if you think about, how slaves were portrayed, it wasn't till, way later on where they were like, oh, you know what? Slavery, not that great of a thing. And they weren't exactly happy about it. Think about Song of the South, because he was like, yay, I'm a slave. Do you guys want to hear a story?
What I didn't like was, wasn't Gone with the Wind a romance story?
I feel like it was.
Yeah, so, it was just like, oh, yeah, this is about oh, yeah, we have slaves, and they're in love, so focus on that. It's like, seriously? What I hate is, how certain African Americans will only get, certain roles in a movie. That's what I hate.
Yeah, but, if you look at Olivia Spencer, she's always playing, the best friend. Think about it. Hidden Figures, even though that was, historical, she was all... Because they were focusing on 3 people, but they only focused on 1 for the majority of the time. And Olivia Spencer was, the friend.
I actually liked Hidden Figures.
I liked Hidden Figures, too, but that's not the point. And then in Shape of Water, there was this deaf girl. Or was she mute? She was something. And she fell in love with this, sea creature, which is already pretty weird. But then Olivia Spencer came in and she was like, hey, guys, you know my husband? Wild.
What I was saying is that, I hate the fact that, you'll see, black people and they'll only play, gangsters or slaves or something like that. Or just that one best friend.
Yeah, because they'll be because sometimes, people are known for being, the best friend. And then so sometimes they're the magical, spiritual black person,
I mean, I guess I get what people
I hate movies and TV shows with only one not white cast member, like Big Time Rush, Good Luck Charlie, all those Hannah Montana, all those Disney TV shows, and Nickelodeon, where the black girl is always the smartest and always level-headed, and then other times it'll be the exact opposite, and then she'll be the feisty one or the spicy one or something like that. It's really weird. The first black person to win an Oscar was Hattie McDaniel. She won an Oscar for Gone with the Wind. She was in over 300 movies and only credited with 75. That is really weird.
Yeah, whenever I hear that, it's just was it because she was black or was it because she was a woman?
I mean, it probably is both. She was a black woman, so that has a lot to do with it. At least now they're always credited, so there's that.
Okay, so whitewashing is a casting practice where white actors are chosen to play non-white roles instead of someone who's actually that race. Okay, whitewashing, it's affected a lot of people in Hollywood, and it's a pretty racist thing.
I mean, yeah, when you're taking somebody else's culture and then, or their race, which plays a big part in who a person is, and then just flipping it and changing it. There was this movie and it was about Egypt, and then so they cast some of the gods to be white. And Egypt is in Africa, meaning that they're probably not white.
True. And they also do it with... Okay, so back in the early 1900s, they've used blackface a lot because there were no actual black actors, if you want to think about it. And just looking at it, it's so offensive.
Yeah, when they put on the white gloves and stuff, and they'd have the big exaggerated lips, and they use shoe tar or whatever it was, shoe polish, and they just rub it on their face. It was so offensive.
You ever see like one of those old timey scary movies with the one black friend who's like, no, I don't want to go inside that room, but they get like talked in, and then like they're the first one to die.
In horror movies, the black character is like always the first one to die, unless it's a Jordan Peele film.
Exactly. Just like that's what I really don't like. Or like, okay, the part that I don't like the most about whitewashing, even though it's bad to start off with, but what I don't like is the makeup that they would use. So like whenever they're displaying like a black person, they'd use actual black makeup, and then like they try to make their lips look bigger by using like it was really offensive, the pictures I saw.
Yeah, well, like, okay, that's blackface and whitewashing, which are like a similar practice, but not the same thing. So whitewashing, like, it just so offensive because like there are good black actors who could have played those roles, and they just gave it to white actors because I don't know, they wanted to, and it's really offensive because there are good black actors out there.
That is true. Just like, remember how we heard about how Julia Roberts was like about to be chosen to play Harriet Tubman?
Yeah, which is so offensive.
So offensive.
Like, even that name was brought up to play Harriet Tubman. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, how could you cast her to play Harriet Tubman? Harriet Tubman is a strong black woman. And I'm so glad that they did not cast somebody like her or another white person. Like, it would have been so crazy to me.
I just wonder if they would have actually casted her, how would they have like gone about it?
I feel like they probably wouldn't. It probably wouldn't even made it to the theaters if when they released the cast list. Because if they went, oh, Julia Roberts, everybody would have been like, no, we're not going to see that.
Exactly, because like that was crazy.
That was insane.
Okay, token black friends. Any thoughts on that?
There could also be token Hispanic friends. We're not racist here.
Okay, what I don't like is how, okay, so, you know, every single TV show, it does this. It has that one black friend that's like there just to be like sassy. She'll only have like a few lines throughout every episode where she's just there like, you got this, go talk to him, or you can do this, just like only there to
Girl,
encourage
you
her.
need a boyfriend. Like, oh my God, stuff like that. And then there's always, you know what? For an example, Good Luck Charlie, Ivy, she would always be there and she'd always be like, you got it, girl. Or she'd say something sassy about how she wants a boyfriend.
Or like in Victorious, Andre, he only like really appears in an episode whenever he's there to like make music for her or do something for the protagonist. It's just like, that's crazy.
Yeah. There's also Big Time Rush where Kelly, she only had like a few lines and it would be like, boys, you're so crazy. Why are you doing this? It was really awkward for her in every scene because she'd have to be like the serious one who, you know, like took care of things and she would be sassy about it.
That is true. Okay. Back then, whenever like blackface was like really, really popular and not wrong at all, I feel like they only used it to like, okay, so in their TV shows, they'd be like lazy or dumb or like doing crazy extra stuff in blackface. I feel like they only used it to like discredit black people, saying, oh, this is how every black person is.
You know, that's really what they were doing, and it's really just remarkable that they didn't think there was anything wrong with what they were doing, that everything that they were doing was right or okay or was okay for other people to see and didn't need to be censored. It's really crazy to me about how they did all those things.
It is crazy. I think that's like, yeah, I know we had slavery and then segregation, but I think that's what like also put it into people's minds. oh, every black person is loud, or oh, every black person likes to eat, or they're extra, something like that. I think that like furthered people's minds to like that setting.
You know, even now, you still get, like, the black girl is the loud one and the sassy one. And then, so, like, even if you think about it, those tropes are always in the back of your mind. So, like, if you see somebody who is black and they're walking down the street and they don't look exactly happy, people will be like, oh, she's mad. Why is she so mad? Like, maybe she's just having a bad day. And that happens a lot to people. Like, they can't just be angry because there are those stereotypes pressing against them.
Yeah, I feel like cinema has like played a really, really large role in like creating these unreal stereotypes. Like the one about how all Latinos are trustworthy, or how Middle Easterns are terrorists, or stuff like that. Okay, so cinema, it's also created stereotypes like in Karate Kid, the first one, the original. He was only there to further on the white protagonist. And like I hate that stereotype, oh, all Asian people or Chinese people, oh, they're really good at karate, because of that stereotype. It's just like put people inside that mindset.
Also, that they all have some wisdom to bestow upon the white protagonist. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Also, sometimes the black character, he's just there to, like, be like, yes, sweetie, honey, child, you can do you. Live your best life. Honey, sweet girl, baby child. Yeah, that's what they talk like. Like, why do they
Wait.
talk like that?
Okay, I think they only use like, okay, so you know back in that time whenever they used blackface, which some people still use it today, but
Like, remember that senator who, was he a senator? I feel like he was, who did blackface. And then it was so crazy because it was in a yearbook. He was Michael Jackson and he did blackface. And then there was a guy who was pretending to be in the KKK next to him in that picture.
okay, what I didn't like about blackface is, all right, during that time, everyone was pretty much. What I hate is in like sci-fi TV shows where like the black person will only appear just so they can have the power that helps out the white protagonist, and then the black person is like killed off and then not never brought up again. Or like in the TV shows, whenever it starts off with the black friend's death and the white friend's like, oh, I'll never forget you, and then it's like 2 episodes later they're like,
Who?
exactly, they completely just moved on. It's crazy how they just like get rid of the character that fast.
You know, another thing, there's always like a token minority couple.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like in Clueless, how they only had that one black couple throughout the whole entire movie.
To prove they weren't racist.
Exactly. Or like whenever a movie, the black friend will only be there so they can get away with like a racist joke.
Yes. And, you know, they would just always like that.
Also, pause it.
And Get Out, race is a big factor of why they're doing this. And then so there are these what people call microaggressions, where he's like, I would vote for Obama for a third term. And there's nothing wrong with him saying that. It's about who he says that to. He specifically points out Chris, the only black character, and says, I would vote for Obama for a third term. And the whole premise of Get Out is that the white people want to buy a black person's body and insert their mind into it. It's weird, but that's basically the premise of that movie. And then so you can see throughout the whole movie that they're not treating him like a human. They're treating him like a specimen. It's so weird. It's really cool.
What I just think like all Hollywood directors just need to like make their cast more diverse and like, you know, like going back into scary movies. Besides Jordan Peele, movies really haven't Like Scream. There's not a single black person in that movie. I've watched it over and over just to see. And I've like noticed no black people in that movie. I really didn't like that, like, cause like I went back to all of them, and like there's not that many movies that have.
Black protagonist. I get what you're saying. So there are a lot of movies that just have this black person just killed off, or like a person of color just killed off. So we just really need to have more people like Jordan Peele. And he got in a lot of controversy because he was like, I can't see myself casting a white protagonist in my movies. But I understand what he's saying. He's not saying, oh, I don't want white people in my movies. He's saying that there's already movies with white people as the protagonist doing similar things to what I'm doing.
You know, that actually does come up a lot because people are like, how is it wrong to cast a movie that has an all-white cast, but it's not wrong to cast a movie that has an all-black cast? And that just has me like, because like it's been like 100 years.
In conclusion, I'm not saying that you can't watch or like the movies. I'm just saying that you need to be aware of the racism and themes in these movies.